fuck are we doing on this earth, man? Every day, most of us wake up and go to a job that we really don't fucking like, but we can't really quit because we got to get the money to pay the bills that they say is important to pay. What the fuck is the point of this life, man?
Listen, I'll be straight up from the start. This video isn't made to entertain you. It's not a slideshow. It's not full of fancy edits. It's one image, one voice, and your full attention. So, here's what I want you to do. Put your phone down. Sit somewhere quiet. No distractions, no noise. And actually listen. Because if you can't sit still for a few minutes, then that's already the first sign that something's wrong. This video isn't for temporary motivation bullshit. It's not to make you feel hyped for 5 minutes and then go back to scrolling. This is for people who are done living like that. People who actually want to change their life. So if that's not you, you can scroll away right now. But if you're still here, then stay. Because what you're about to hear might just change the way you see your entire life. And look, if you can sit through a video like this, you're already doing more than 90% of people out there. You're actually training your mind again. You're rebuilding your focus. You're giving yourself a break from all the noise that's been controlling you. When you sit down and listen to something fully, your brain starts to reset. You start to think clearly again. You start to feel again. That's the benefit of watching something like this. It's not for entertainment. It's for peace. It's to remind your mind what stillness feels like. Because maybe that's all you've been missing. Silence. Real silence. And by the time you reach the end of this video, you'll understand why. Well, this is life. That's what we call it, at least. But when it's quiet for a second, it makes me think. What's really the point of all this? Because from the day we were born, it's like everything was already set for us. Go to school, get a job, make money, pay bills, grow old, die. And everyone calls that living. But deep down, there's something off about that. It feels like we were thrown into a system, not life. A system that doesn't teach us who we are, but what we should be. A system that tells us how to act, how to think, how to behave. And if we don't fit, we fail. School doesn't build thinkers anymore. It builds workers. It doesn't teach wisdom. It teaches obedience. The same books, the same rules, the same loop. It's all designed to shape a person into something predictable. And what's sad is that we think that's normal. We think that's what life's supposed to be. Wake up, scroll for a bit, go to work, come back tired, scroll again, sleep, repeat. Somehow, this became the definition of a good life. But where in that cycle does anyone stop and think, what am I even doing here? Because this world isn't random. The sun doesn't rise every day by accident. The heart doesn't beat out of luck. There's a higher system above all of this. And yet, most of us are trapped in one that keeps us from ever seeing it. The school system teaches competition, not compassion. The economy teaches survival, not sincerity. Technology teaches connection, but gives isolation. Everything's backwards, and it's crazy, because technology could have been the greatest blessing for humanity. But now, it's the biggest trap. The phone, the screen, the scrolling, it's all built to control attention, not help it. Every scroll releases dopamine. Every click trains the brain to crave more. It's not by accident. It's design. The same part of the brain that reacts to a drug reacts when that next video loads in half a second. And it's not just one generation. It's everyone. Kids who can't sit still for a minute. Teens who can't study without their phone. Adults who lie to themselves, saying they're busy, when half that time is spent scrolling. It's destroying focus. It's destroying discipline. And it's doing it quietly, without anyone even realizing. It used to be that people wanted to learn. Now they just want to escape. We went from reading to watching, from watching to swiping, from thinking to reacting. The attention span's gone. The silence is gone. The ability to sit alone and think. It's gone. And somehow, everyone feels the same emptiness, but nobody stops to ask why. Because this system, this modern world, it's not built for peace. It's built for consumption. It needs people to keep scrolling, buying, chasing, comparing. Because the moment a person actually stops and reflects, the whole system breaks. That's the world right now. People who work all day, sleep all night, and still feel lost. Not because they're doing something wrong, but because they've forgotten what life was really made for. This world was never meant to be permanent. It's a test, but the system made us forget that. When you look around today, it feels like everyone's chasing something. Money, fame, attention, comfort, validation. Something. But the more they get, the emptier they become. That's the strange part about the human mind. It wants peace, but it keeps running toward noise. It wants meaning, but it keeps chasing stimulation. And maybe that's the real issue. We're not chasing the wrong things. We're chasing the right things in the wrong way. People say they want happiness, but happiness isn't something you can hold on to. It comes and goes. It's like rain, temporary, passing, unpredictable. What the mind really wants is peace. And peace isn't found in pleasure. It's found in alignment. When what you think, what you say, and what you do are all in harmony. That's peace. But the world doesn't teach that. The world teaches pleasure. The next like, the next sale, the next trip, the next thing. The brain gets used to being rewarded for everything, even the smallest things, and over time, it forgets how to live without constant stimulation. It's not even about social media anymore. It's deeper. It's that the brain itself got rewired. The dopamine system, the chemical that tells us what feels good, is being drained nonstop. Every swipe, every notification, every video, it's pulling from that same source. And when that system burns out, people lose the ability to feel joy in simple things. That's why silence feels uncomfortable. That's why prayer feels hard. That's why being alone with your thoughts feels heavy. The brain became addicted to movement, to instant reaction, to that small rush that fades the second it arrives. It's sad, because humans weren't created like this. The mind was designed to focus, to reflect, to imagine, to build, to understand. But now, it's being used just to consume. And that's why so many feel lost. They can't stay still. They can't focus. They can't even enjoy the present moment without needing something to distract them from it. That's not freedom. That's slavery, disguised as choice. And what's strange is that the more freedom people claim to have, the more trapped they actually are. Trapped by the same things they think make them happy. The job, the screen, the comfort, the habits. They all become invisible chains. There's a verse that says, "The heart only finds rest when it remembers its creator." And even without quoting it, deep down, everyone feels that truth. Because peace doesn't come from having everything. It comes from knowing why you have anything at all. Humans weren't created to live off dopamine. They were created to live off direction. That's what the soul hungers for. And when the soul's ignored, the mind starts to break. That's why people can be surrounded by everything and still feel nothing. Because peace isn't outside, it's inside. And it only starts when the mind stops running from itself. It's strange, isn't it? How everything around us feels so normal now. Working all day, scrolling all night, calling it life. But when you really look closer, you start to realize none of this is accidental. This system we live in, it's built this way. Everything is designed to keep people busy enough to forget they're alive, busy enough to stop questioning, busy enough to never sit still long enough to feel what's actually wrong inside. The school system was the first design to make thinkers predictable. It was never built to bring out wisdom, only compliance. Get up, sit down, memorize, repeat. Every kid born with curiosity is slowly taught to replace imagination with instruction. And then comes work, the cycle that continues the same pattern. 9 to 5, 5 to 9, same paycheck, same exhaustion. We're told this is success. Work until you forget why you started. Buy things you don't need to impress people you don't like. And when it still feels empty, we're told to buy more. It's a cycle, built on consumption. And the truth is, modern society doesn't want humans. It wants customers. It needs people who chase the next thing, because stillness doesn't sell. Peace doesn't profit. That's why every screen is louder, every ad brighter, every influencer happier. Because if the system can control what a person sees, it can control what that person wants. There's an entire science behind it. Algorithms that study behavior, dopamine triggers built into design. Your favorite color, your viewing time, your pause rate. It's all tracked to feed you exactly what will keep you scrolling. Not what will make you grow, what will keep you hooked. And the saddest part, it works. We've built a generation of people who think they're choosing, but their choices are being chosen for them. Every tap, every trend, every thought, it's all guided, and people don't even realize how deep it goes. Politics, news, entertainment, they all run on the same machine, attention. Keep the masses entertained, and you can sell them anything. But this manipulation isn't just mental, it's spiritual. Because when the mind's distracted, the soul weakens. When the soul weakens, people stop reflecting. And when people stop reflecting, evil doesn't need to hide anymore. It becomes fashion. It becomes entertainment. It becomes normal. And that's where we are now. Sin is celebrated. Faith is mocked. Lust is empowerment. Greed is ambition. And disobedience is called freedom. People say, I'm just living how I want. But when you ask them why they want that, they don't even know. Because they didn't build their wants. They downloaded them. That's how far this system has gone. It doesn't just control what we do, it controls what we desire. But the moment someone pauses, really pauses, the system loses its grip because reflection breaks control. Silence exposes truth. And when truth enters the mind, manipulation dies. That's why reflection feels heavy. That's why silence feels strange, because those are the moments when the mask of the world starts to fall off. And maybe that's why this test feels so hard. Because this test isn't about surviving the world. It's about not becoming like it. Life. It's not supposed to be easy. And deep down, everyone knows that. But the strange part is, most people still expect it to be. They expect peace without patience, success without sacrifice, faith without struggle. And when life doesn't go their way, they call it unfair. But this world was never built to be fair. It was built to be a test. Every person on this planet, rich, poor, strong, weak, is being tested in a different way. Some are tested with wealth, some with loss, some with health, some with temptation. But every test has one goal: to see who remembers their purpose when the world tries to make them forget. That's what makes it a real test. If it was easy, it wouldn't mean anything. And the truth is, even hardship has mercy hidden inside it. Because pain wakes you up. It makes you question. It makes you search. Sometimes the worst moments in your life become the reason you finally look for God. When everything's easy, the heart grows arrogant. When life gets hard, the heart becomes humble. And maybe that's the point. Most people look at their problems and say, "Why me?" But they never ask, "What is this trying to teach me?" Sometimes your delay is saving you. Sometimes your failure is protecting you. Sometimes that heartbreak was the only way to detach you from something that was destroying you. That's how the test works. It's not random. It's designed. Every person's path is different because every soul has different weaknesses. One person might struggle with money, another with pride, another with desire. Each test targets the exact spot that needs purification. And this test doesn't stop with one phase of life. It changes as you grow. As a kid, the test is obedience. As a teenager, it's identity. As an adult, it's balance. And later in life, it's legacy, what you leave behind. The problem is, most people see these tests as punishments. They don't realize it's actually the most personal form of guidance. Because if the goal was to punish, you wouldn't even get the chance to learn. The fact that you can fail, fall, and still come back stronger. That's mercy, not punishment. The test is not meant to break you. It's meant to build you, to shape you into someone worthy of something far greater than this temporary world. Think about it. If you wanted something amazing in life, you'd work for it. You'd sacrifice. You'd lose sleep. You'd fight for it. So why would the eternal reward, the real one, be any easier? That's why this world feels heavy. Because it's supposed to. If it felt perfect, no one would want to leave it. And if no one wanted to leave it, no one would work for what comes after it. The test of life is not about how much you earn or achieve. It's about what you become while you're tested. Do you stay honest when it's hard? Do you stay kind when you're hurt? Do you stay grateful when you have little? That's the real score. And when you think about it like that, you start to see that every problem you faced wasn't against you. It was for you. Every heartbreak, every loss, every delay. They weren't detours, they were directions. This life was never about comfort. It was about growth. And growth never comes easy. But it's worth it. Because this test ends one day. And when it does, you'll finally see what every struggle was preparing you for. Every generation thinks they've seen the worst of the world, until the next one comes and realizes, no, it can get darker. Evil doesn't just appear anymore. It's packaged, promoted, and sold as entertainment. Look around. The devil doesn't show up with horns or fire. He shows up as convenience, as pleasure, as freedom. He learned something about human nature, that if he can't destroy you through pain, he'll destroy you through comfort. And he's patient. He doesn't need to drag you away from God in one moment. He'll just make you too distracted to remember him at all. That's his plan. He doesn't have to make you a sinner. He just has to make you forget. Forget who you are. Forget why you're here. Forget what you're supposed to do with your short time in this world. And the system helps him do it. Because it was built to keep you comfortable, not conscious. To keep you entertained, not enlightened. To give you everything, except purpose. This is why temptation feels good. Why sin looks easy. Why everything that destroys your soul feels so convenient. It's all designed that way. It's not just about music or screens or fame. It's about attention. Whoever controls your attention controls your soul. And right now, the devil doesn't even have to whisper. He's got an algorithm doing it for him. He knows that humans crave pleasure more than patience. So he gives you pleasure first and regret second. He gives you false highs that slowly rot your heart. The clubs, the validation, the attention online, they all hit the same part of the brain as worship used to. The difference is, worship heals. This just drains. You notice how everything that feels good for a second ends up leaving you worse afterward? That's not coincidence, that's corruption. It's the law of the soul. What feeds the body can starve the heart, and the devil knows this. He's been studying humanity longer than humanity's been studying itself. He doesn't attack faith directly anymore. He attacks focus. He makes you scroll until your purpose fades. He makes you chase pleasure until peace disappears. And by the time you realize it, you've built your own cage and called it freedom. The truth is, the devil doesn't fear your mistakes. He fears your reflection. Because the second you pause and look inside, you'll see what's been happening all along. You'll see how the world was never designed for you to win. It was designed to make you forget. But that's why the test exists. To prove that no matter how advanced the system gets, the soul is still stronger. No matter how dark the world gets, light still exposes it. You were never meant to live without struggle. You were meant to fight through it. Because every act of resistance against temptation is an act of worship itself. Evil may be increasing, but so is awareness. More people are waking up every day, and the moment you realize the battle isn't out there, it's inside. That's when you start to win. The devil can trick your mind, but he can't take your soul unless you give it up. You know what's wild? Even with everything that's gone wrong in this world, the chaos, the greed, the distractions, there's still something pure left inside every single person. You can see it in moments. The way someone cries when they see their mother. The way people pause at a sunset. The way a child laughs and you feel something deep in your chest, like a reminder that not everything's lost yet. There's something inside all of us that still recognizes truth. Even the people who claim they don't believe in anything, they still crave meaning. They still feel that ache when life feels empty. That's not coincidence. That's the soul, whispering that it was made for more than this. Every human being, no matter where they're born, feels love, guilt, awe, fear, and the desire to be remembered. We all look up at the same sky and wonder why we're here. And that's the thing. These feelings aren't cultural. They're universal. They point beyond us. They point toward something higher. Why do we feel peace when we forgive? Why do we feel weight when we lie? Why does helping someone instantly make you feel lighter? Because your soul recognizes good and evil even before your mind does. Science can measure brain activity, but it can't explain why a song can make you cry, or why standing under the stars makes you feel small, yet complete. That's not just neurons firing. That's remembrance. And if you pay attention, you'll notice that everything in this world, every mountain, every tree, every ocean wave, has a rhythm. The earth itself moves in perfect balance. The sun rises at the same minute. The tides follow the moon. The air renews itself through the trees. There's no chaos, only design. Even your body, your heart beats without you commanding it. Your lungs breathe while you sleep. Your cells repair while you rest. Tell me, who's running all that? You? No, it's something higher. A power that sustains everything, even when we forget to acknowledge it. And maybe that's the biggest sign, that even when we turn away, we still have a part of us that yearns to turn back. That's why people can have everything and still feel nothing, because the human soul wasn't made to be filled with things. It was made to be filled with meaning, and meaning can't be bought. It has to be lived. Every sign you need, every proof, every reminder. It's not in the sky or in a book somewhere far away. It's right here, in the way your heart still hopes, in the way your conscience still warns you, and in the way your soul still longs for peace. No matter how far humanity drifts, these signs remain. Little sparks of mercy left inside every single one of us. The system wants you busy. God wants you present. The system wants you scrolling. God wants you reflecting. The system wants you comparing. God wants you grateful. Two completely opposite worlds. And every single day, you're choosing which one to live in. The system we were born into was never made for your soul. It was made for your output. Your worth is measured by what you produce, not who you are. Grades decide your value in school. Numbers decide your value in business. Followers decide your value online. And when you stop performing, you start feeling invisible. That's exactly how the system keeps you trapped, by convincing you that you are only as good as your results. But God doesn't see you that way. He doesn't care how much you own or how loud you are. He cares about what's inside your heart when no one's watching. He looks at your intention when you work, your patience when you're hurt, your gratitude when you're blessed. That's the scoreboard that actually matters. The system says, do whatever makes you happy. God says, do whatever keeps you pure. The system says, chase pleasure. God says, chase peace. The system says, you deserve everything. God says, you earn everything. See the difference? The system feeds your ego. God heals your soul. And it's crazy, because the more we chase the system, the emptier we get. You can work every day, get the money, the house, the lifestyle, and still feel like something's missing, because you built everything around your comfort, not your character. God's path isn't easy. It asks for discipline, patience, and humility. But it gives something the system never can. Peace that lasts, because the system can only give you dopamine, that quick hit of happiness that fades as soon as the screen turns off. But faith gives you serenity, a calm that doesn't depend on circumstance. And look at how the system disguises sin now. It doesn't tell you to disobey directly. It tells you to be yourself, to follow your truth. But that's not truth. That's temptation, dressed up as freedom. True freedom isn't doing whatever you want. It's being strong enough to not do what destroys you. What God wants for us is balance, not isolation, not burnout. He doesn't want you to abandon the world. He wants you to live in it without being consumed by it. To work, but not worship work. To earn, but not let money own you. To love, but not lose yourself in desire. To have fun, but not forget your limits. To remember that your soul has rights too, not just your body. Because when you start aligning your actions with His design, life starts making sense again. You still face struggle, but now it means something. You still feel pain, but now it purifies you. You still fall, but now you rise with purpose. That's the real difference. The system says, survive. God says, live with meaning. And when you live with meaning, you realize the system doesn't own you anymore. It can't. Because you stopped running in circles and started walking in truth. Let's get real for a second. Everyone talks about purpose, but no one explains how to actually live with one. People think meaning is something you find, but it's not. It's something you build, one choice at a time. And it doesn't matter what background you're from, what religion you follow, or how far you've drifted. There are universal truths written in the soul of every human. They all point back to balance, discipline, and faith. So let's break this down. 5 pillars that every human needs to live a meaningful life. 1. Remembrance. Call it stillness, reflection, meditation, whatever name you give it, it's remembrance. The moment you stop running and just sit with yourself. 10 minutes of silence can show you more truth than hours of scrolling ever could. You were never meant to drown in noise all day. When you stay still long enough, your soul starts speaking. And deep down, every soul remembers where it came from. Remembrance heals the nervous system. It resets the brain. It quiets anxiety, because the mind finally feels safe again. That's not spirituality. That's design. 2. Responsibility. Freedom without responsibility always becomes destruction. Look at society. People chasing pleasure, yet more depressed than ever. Responsibility gives life structure. When you take care of your parents, your family, your word, your life starts to feel real, because you're living for something greater than your ego. You start to walk with integrity. And the more you take responsibility, the more grounded your peace becomes. 3. Service. When was the last time you helped someone without expecting anything in return? Because that's where your soul softens. Helping someone else realigns your heart. It gets you out of your own head and reminds you of what actually matters. Every time you remove hardship from another person, you remove a layer of darkness from your own chest. That's not philosophy. That's human law. The system says, look after yourself. But the truth is, your soul thrives when you lift others. That's how humanity survives, through compassion, not competition. 4. Discipline. Without discipline, you become a slave to your own desires. You'll wake up late, eat what destroys you, scroll what numbs you, and call it freedom. Real freedom is control, and control isn't harsh, it's love. Because discipline is what protects your peace. The human brain isn't built for unlimited pleasure. Every notification, every short video, every craving, it burns your focus down one hit at a time. The same way drugs hijack the brain, scrolling does it too. It spikes dopamine without earning it. That's why you feel empty afterward. So limit it. Replace the noise with stillness. Your discipline will become your power, because patience isn't weakness, it's mastery. 5. Gratitude. You can have everything and still feel poor if you forget to look at what you already have. Gratitude is the antidote to greed. When you start noticing blessings, you stop chasing illusions. And the truth is, your heart can't hold both envy and peace at the same time. You have to choose. The more you thank, the more you're trusted with. That's how the world works. That's how life multiplies your blessings. These 5 things, remembrance, responsibility, service, discipline, and gratitude, they sound simple, but they're everything. They align your mind with your soul, your habits with your heart, and your life with meaning. It's not about being perfect. It's about being real. You'll fail. You'll get distracted. But every time you return to these, you come back to balance. Because meaning isn't found in noise. It's found in alignment. When your soul, your mind, and your actions all face the same direction, that's when you finally feel peace. Let's be honest. Most people don't want truth. They want comfort. Because truth demands change, and change hurts. We live in a time where it's easier to fake success than to earn peace. You can post a picture that makes you look rich, smile while you're empty, and scroll past real pain like it's entertainment. But deep down, your soul knows when something's off. That's why no matter how much you achieve, it still doesn't feel enough. You can win the system, get the job, the money, the followers, and still lose everything that matters. Because success without purpose is just a faster road to burnout. We've built a generation that chases attention more than intention. People care more about looking wise than actually being wise, more about appearing kind than genuinely helping, and more about being seen than being remembered by God. That's the hard truth. You can live your whole life winning by society's rules and still fail the test that actually counts. Freedom without guidance always becomes addiction. The proof is all around us. Freedom turned into escapism. Self-expression turned into pride. Pleasure turned into poison. And the scariest part? We've normalized it. We call obsession grind culture. We call lust self-love. We call rebellion independence. But no one calls it what it really is: disconnection from the soul. When you detach from your creator, you start worshiping creation. You chase the phone, the brand, the status, the body, thinking they'll complete you. But they just keep you running, faster, harder, emptier. And look, the devil doesn't need to make you evil. He just needs to make you busy. Too busy to reflect, too distracted to pray, too tired to care. That's how he wins, not by scaring you, but by making you comfortable, because comfort kills more dreams than failure ever will. The people who grow aren't the ones who avoid pain. They're the ones who use it, who see hardship and say, "This is where I'm being refined." Here's another truth people don't like hearing. Every choice you make is shaping your soul. Nothing is neutral. Every click, every conversation, every habit, it's all writing who you are. You don't become patient overnight. You build it every time you hold your tongue. You don't become grateful randomly. You build it every time you choose to see blessings instead of flaws. The world keeps saying, do what feels right. But feelings aren't facts. They're waves. They pass. Principles are what keep you grounded when emotions change. That's why God gave us guidance, not to limit us, but to protect us from our own desires. Because left unchecked, desire will consume you. And maybe that's the biggest truth of all. The easiest life often leads to the hardest death. And the hardest life, the one filled with struggle, restraint, and faith, leads to the most peaceful ending. So, yeah, the truth hurts, but it also heals. Because once you face it, you stop running from yourself. You stop chasing the system, and you finally start chasing meaning. You see, the truth isn't owned by anyone. It's not Muslim truth, Christian truth, or atheist truth. It's just truth. And truth, when you really look for it, always leads back to one source. Call him what you want. But there's only one who created all of this. The mountains, the stars, the cells in your body, none of it happened by accident. And deep down, every soul knows it. Because we were all born with that fitra, that natural pull toward our Creator. But somewhere along the way, the system buried that instinct. It replaced faith with fantasy and turned worship into entertainment. It made us slaves to time, to trends, to titles, while Islam quietly remained what it always was. Balance Islam doesn't tell you to abandon the world. It teaches you how to live in it, with peace, limits, and purpose. It doesn't tell you to hate success. It tells you not to let success own your heart. It doesn't force you to isolate. It teaches you to connect, reflect, and stay grounded. In every act, there's balance. Work, but pray. Earn, but give. Speak, but think love, but with discipline. Rest, but don't waste time. It's a rhythm of life, not rules of restriction. The balance was never meant to control you. It was meant to free you from yourself, from addiction, from the system, to remind you that peace isn't found in rebellion. It's found in remembrance. And look around. Every great civilization, every moral compass, every true heart, all had one thing in common: belief in something greater. Without it, humanity collapses. You can build the tallest cities, but without God, they're hollow. You can fill your bank account, but without faith, your soul stays bankrupt. That's why Islam remains standing. Because it's not a religion of culture, it's a religion of truth. It's the final message preserved without distortion. No middlemen, no rewrites, no edits to fit the times. It's discipline, compassion, mercy, and accountability, all in one. It's the only framework that connects the unseen and the seen. It tells you, this world is a bridge, not a home you're meant to build, love, live. But never forget where you're headed. That's why Islam is growing, not by force, but because souls are tired. Tired of noise, tired of contradictions, tired of pretending that money, status, or fame can fill what's missing. And when they finally stop running, when they sit in silence, when they ask themselves, what's the point of all this? Their heart quietly whispers the same answer. There's only one. Islam isn't just for Muslims. It's for humanity. It's not here to separate people. It's here to unite them back to truth. To remind you that you're not random. You're created with precision, purpose, and mercy. And if you truly live by its balance, you'll find peace that doesn't break under pressure, because your soul will finally be aligned with its design. Now that you've heard all this, you might be wondering, okay, but what do I do now? Because awareness alone isn't enough. You can understand the system, you can expose the lies, but if you don't act differently, nothing changes. So let's bring this down to something real. A way to rebuild your purpose one day at a time. Not a huge life overhaul, just a quiet reset. Something every human can do, no matter your background, religion, or age. 1. Begin the day with silence. The moment you wake up, don't touch your phone. Not for the first 10 minutes. You've spent years letting the world speak before you do. And it's time to break that pattern. Sit still, breathe, think. If you're religious, pray. If you're not, just sit in silence. That moment of stillness rewires your brain. It reminds your body that you're in control, not the device. Morning silence trains your soul to listen again. 2. 20 minutes of deep work. Before you check notifications, spend 20 minutes doing something that matters. Read, study, build, write. Anything that moves your life forward. When you focus before distraction hits, you're telling your mind what's important. It's not about productivity. It's about ownership. Every day you control your focus, you take back another piece of your soul that the system tried to steal. 3. 1 act of service. Do one thing, just one, that helps someone else. Message someone who's struggling. Compliment someone who needs it. Help without waiting for recognition. Because every act of service polishes the mirror of your heart. The more you give, the more peace you get. It's strange. The more you help others, the lighter your own problems feel. Family check-in. Once a week, call or visit family, even the ones you've drifted from. Repairing one relationship can open doors of blessing you never expected. Because peace doesn't just live inside you, it lives in your ties. A family that prays, laughs, or even just talks together, heals together. 5. 90-minute night wind down. 1 hour before bed, unplug. Turn off the blue light, the noise, the chaos. Read, walk, journal, reflect. If you're someone of faith, this is when your connection deepens most. The world goes quiet, and your thoughts get louder. That's where healing starts, in that stillness, because reflection without noise turns regret into realization. 6. The weekly reset. Once a week, Friday, Sunday, whatever day feels sacred to you, take a reset day. No feed, no fake goals, just nature, peace, prayer, stillness. Walk, breathe, talk to yourself. not your screen. Write what you're grateful for. You'll start to see how little you actually need to feel alive. That day isn't a break. It's how you remember who you are. You don't have to do all this perfectly. You'll slip. You'll forget. But every small moment of effort builds strength. If you stay consistent, you'll notice something strange happen. You'll stop craving chaos. Your mind will start rejecting the noise on its own, and you'll begin to feel something you may not have felt in years. Clarity. That's what returning to purpose feels like. It's not fireworks. It's quiet. It's calm. It's real. At the end of the day, it all comes down to one question. What are you really chasing? Because when the noise fades, when the screens go black, and it's just you, your breath, and your thoughts, what's left? It won't be your money. It won't be your followers. It won't even be your name. It'll be your soul, standing before the one who gave it to you. We spend so much time preparing for everything in life, except the part that actually matters, the ending. We plan our careers, our vacations, our next phone upgrade, but how often do we plan for the day the heart stops beating? And yet, that day is the only guarantee we have. You see, you don't need a new life. You just need a true orientation. You don't have to throw everything away. You just have to realign, because peace isn't hiding in another job, another city, or another relationship. It's hiding inside you, under all the noise, under all the pretending, waiting for you to return. This is what the system will never tell you. You weren't made to be perfect. You were made to return, to fall, to rise, to learn, to seek, and to never forget who you came from. You were made to remember. The world will keep trying to sell you meaning, in clothes, in screens, in numbers. But the only meaning that lasts is the one that outlives you. That's the real win. The real win is dying with peace, not regret. It's living every day knowing that even if the world forgot your name, your Creator never did. It's knowing that your prayers, your patience, your quiet kindness, none of it went unnoticed. Every tear you shed alone, every temptation you resisted, every good deed no one saw. It's all recorded. It's all seen. So stop worrying about who's watching you online. Start worrying about who's watching your heart. And when you finally stand before Him, when this entire test ends, He won't ask, "How much did you own?" He'll ask, "What did you do with the time I gave you?" And maybe that's the most beautiful thing about all of this, that no matter how far you've gone, no matter how much you've messed up, you can always return. Because the door never closed. You just stopped knocking. So take a breath. Look around. This isn't random. This is mercy. This is your wake-up call. You were created for more than survival. You were created to remember, to love, to build, to worship. And if you live by that, truly live by it, then no system can own you. No distraction can control you. No pain can break you. Because your heart will finally belong to the one who made it.